Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful features in the cloud data world, Amazon S3 Replication. If you're building applications that need to be fast, resilient, and available all over the globe, then this is a tool you absolutely have to master. So, let's get into it.
So, here's what we've got on tap. We'll start with the big picture, protecting your digital assets. Then we'll get into the real why, the business reasons to replicate. After that, we'll dive into the playbook of different strategies, touch on some pretty cool advanced sync techniques, and wrap up with the super important rules and gotchas you gotta know to get it right.
All right, let's start at the beginning, with the absolute foundation. To really get why replication is so critical, you have to ask yourself one simple but kinda terrifying question.
Really think about it. An outage, a bad configuration push, or even a regional disaster. If your data only lives in one place, your app, your whole business, could just grind to a halt. This is literally the scenario that keeps architects up at night, and it's the exact problem S3 Replication is built to solve.
So what is this magic solution? Well, at its heart, S3 Replication is pretty straightforward. It's the automatic, asynchronous copying of your stuff across S3 buckets. But, and this is key, don't just think of it as a simple backup. Oh no, it's a fully managed, heavy-duty feature designed for building truly robust, global systems.
So that brings us to our next big question. Beyond just, avoiding total disaster, what are the concrete business reasons to actually go through the trouble of setting up replication?
First up, speed. It's all about the user experience. Look, if you have users in London and Tokyo, serving them data from a server in, say, Virginia is going to feel super slow. It's just physics. By replicating your data to AWS regions that are way closer to your users, you can dramatically slash that access time. It's a night and day difference.
Next up, and this is a big one, is compliance. A lot of countries have what are called data sovereignty laws, and these laws basically say that certain types of data have to physically stay inside their borders. Well, replication is how you do that. It lets you keep copies of your data in specific geographic regions to check all those strict regulatory boxes.
And of course, the one we all think of first, disaster recovery. Keeping a complete, up-to-date copy of your data in a totally separate AWS region, well, that's the cornerstone of any solid business continuity plan. If your main region has a really bad day, you can just fail over to your replica and keep the lights on.
So let's just recap the big wins here. You're making things faster for your users all over the world. You're staying on the right side of tough compliance laws, and you're building a rock-solid disaster recovery plan. But wait, there's more. It also unlocks some amazing efficiencies. You can replicate everything, all the object metadata like version IDs, and you can even replicate objects directly into cheaper storage classes at the destination. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so you're sold on why you need it, but how do you actually do it? It's time to open up the replication playbook and look at the core strategies you can use.
Your first big choice is all about timing. Live replication is for all your new stuff. The second an object gets uploaded, bam, it's automatically queued up for replication. Simple. But what about the mountains of data you already have sitting there? For that, you use on-demand replication with a tool called S3 Batch Replication. This is your go-to for backfilling a new bucket with terabytes or even petabytes of existing data.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, the where. Cross-region replication, or CRR, is what most people think of. You're copying data to a bucket in a totally different AWS region, perfect for disaster recovery. But you can also do same-region replication, SRR, which means copying to another bucket in the very same region. Why would you do that? Well, it's awesome for things like gathering all your logs into one central bucket, or for compliance rules that require separate copies but within the same country. I love this analogy. CRR is like having safety deposit boxes in different cities, while SRR is like having two separate vaults in the same bank. But replication isn't just a one-way street. Let's look at how you could build some more advanced synchronization patterns that go way beyond just a simple copy and paste.
For those really robust, high-availability setups, you can configure bidirectional replication. That's a fancy way of saying two-way sync. Changes in bucket A get sent to bucket B, and changes in bucket B get sent right back to bucket A. This keeps both buckets perfectly in lockstep, and that includes all the metadata changes like object tags or legal holds. This is absolutely critical for active-active architectures.
And this is brilliant. This is how you make it all simple for your applications. Instead of your app needing to know about a bunch of different regional buckets, you use what's called a multi-region access point. You get one single global hostname. That's it. When a user makes a request to that endpoint, S3 automatically and intelligently routes them to the bucket with the lowest latency. It makes your global app way faster and so much simpler to manage.
All right, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now for what is arguably the most important section, the rules, the fine print, the gotchas you absolutely need to know to avoid headaches down the road.
So here's the million-dollar question. Once you flip that switch, does S3 replication just copy everything? The answer is a very clear and emphatic no. And knowing the exceptions is super important.
Okay, so by default, S3 won't replicate objects that are already replicas, so you can't chain replication from bucket A to B to C. Objects that are deep in Glacier storage, yeah, they have to be restored first. And of course, bucket-level settings like lifecycle policies don't get copied over. Oh, and a big one, delete markers, those little placeholders for deleted objects. They're not replicated by default, though you can turn that on if you need to.
Okay, everybody lean in. If you remember only one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. S3 replication will flat out not work unless you have versioning enabled. And not just on the source bucket, on both the source and the destination buckets. This isn't a suggestion, it's a hard requirement. It's how S3 keeps track of all the changes to make sure your copy is 100% faithful. And one last quick but critical note on encryption. If your objects are encrypted using AWS's Key Management Service, or SSEKMS, guess what? They are not replicated by default. You need to go in and add specific permissions and tweak the configuration to make it happen. And just be aware, doing this can basically double your KMS request rate, which can have real cost and quota implications. So, let's just bring this all home. S3 replication isn't just another feature on a long list. It's a foundational, strategic tool. It's the thing that lets you level up from a simple single-region app to something that's truly tough, fast, and compliant on a global scale. And that leaves us with one final thought. You now have the playbook. You know how to protect and distribute your data all over the world. So the real question is, what's the first weak point in your own data strategy that you're going to go fix? Thanks for tuning in.